Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Compass Box 3-year-old Deluxe. Dustin comes in at a whopping 49? 49.2. 2015 bottling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so we're a little late getting to this one.
Little.
Just a few years.
Yeah, 7. It'll be fine. Tell us about the whiskey, buddy.
All right, so as you guys know, John Glazier, master blender, and also all-around prankster, and enjoys telling the Scotch Malt Whisky Society to go to hell. So this was one of his ways of telling them to go to hell.
Very American sense of humor from John, I've always thought.
Yeah, he's American.
Yes, yes.
So the beauty of this one was they put out the Flaming Heart 2015, Mike, and they did the unthinkable. They told people what was actually in the bottle of whiskey they were about to consume.
Imagine the horror.
And so that upset the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. There was a big hubbub, and it became a new thing where if Compass Box wants to tell you what's in their whiskey, you have to ask them personally. So you just send them an email and they tell you what happened. So this was John's way of saying, really, age statements are that important to you people? Fine.
3-year-old.
3-year-old whiskey, and we're going to charge $300.
And that is the minimum for a Scotch, correct? 3 years old?
3 years is the minimum for a Scotch, and on top of that, what age statements mean the youngest whiskey in the bottle. So this has 3-year-old whiskey in it at, I believe, something like 0.4%.
Right.
So it's like 0.4% Clyenlish at 3 years old.
All right, what else we got here?
It's about 90% 24-year-old Clyenlish,
Nice.
which is why it's $300.
Right.
And then about 9-something is a first fill sherry butt Talisker 20-year-old.
This smells amazing. Let's get into it. So I believe natural color, like all Compass Boxes are.
Yep.
Very, very nice, rich gold, maybe light gold color.
You know, this might be the last Compass Box I remember doing a solid all malt and going a higher proof, other than peated. Like, well, I guess this is peated too. It's got Talisker. They, for some reason, when they put peat in it, they go a little closer to 50.
It knows it so well. Jeez.
Isn't it beautiful?
Just wax-covered banana, vanilla sweetness.
With light berries.
Berries are in there.
A little bit of like, it's like a fruit and a pepper spice kind of thing. It's like raspberry and pepper somehow just slightly coming in at the end.
This that vanilla, banana, waxy, candy banana, but vanilla and waxy note just like really intermingles nicely.
You always say banana, I always come back to vanilla wafers.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, we're saying
Same thing, yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it.
If you ever go to a city barbecue, they have a dessert. I can't remember exactly what it is, but some type of banana cream pie.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our Columbus viewers was talking about Ray's Hog Pit, and
I saw those comments.
Suggested that I go there. Little does he know at the time, I'm an old pro with Ray. Do some boxes for him and things like that. Anyway, first, this is a wonderful candied Clyenlish.
Yeah,
so candy.
But you get that little bit of smoke and a little bit of peat from Talisker. It's not in your face, but it's there. It's not hiding.
I agree with you on the Talisker note because that pepper note is coming through. I think that's that note you mentioned, like with the fruit, that might be like that peppery note from Talisker.
Yeah, but there's just Talisker always comes off as just a hint of peat, really, for me when I get into Taliskers. Although we're going to get into a Talisker at some point that's going to be a little more peated, but this one, I'm getting distinct actual peat notes. I mean, we're not talking, Southern Iowa, but I get peat.
Yeah. You're right, Talisker isn't a peaty whiskey, but it's very recognizable to me. And again, you get that black pepper in some of the better Taliskers. And now, kind of what I attributed to Clyenlish initially with the waxiness, Talisker does have a kind of viscosity to it. Kind of, especially with the 10-year-old, kind of makes it creamy.
And aren't they wormwood as well, Mike?
I'm not sure.
I feel like they are. But, if you told me this was like 3% Kalila instead of being 9% Talisker, I would have believed you because I get just enough smoke here where it could be 9% Kalila. It has to be less. But if you told me 1, 2, maybe 3% Kalila, I would have believed it.
Peat, it's noticeable on a whiskey and a blend, especially. It really is. That's why with Islay whiskeys, why I think Kalila is such a workhorse and isn't used in so many blends because you need it's going to show up. And that profile better go well with other things. And I don't know how well, like, say, Lagavulin or Ardbeg would go with.
It's very malleable.
Right, very malleable. Although we've had some good Compass Boxes that had Lefroy in them and had Ardbeg in them. And
what John has done with Lefroy and Ardbeg, as far as I know, when he's used them, he uses them as the bulk of the whiskey. Whereas Kalila, he's much more excited with, we'll just put a little of that in here. We'll put 20%.
Okay.
And Talisker, the same thing. He likes to use Talisker sparingly to kind of spice things up, add a little bit of barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. Very interesting nose, very, very thick on the nose, like you would expect with Clyenlish for sure. And again, that nice pepper spice note is really coming up more and more that you know. So I'm actually excited to put water on this thing. What are you picking up?
Oh my goodness, man. So I get initially vanilla, and then it goes to honeycomb, cereal, and then just straight honey. And then I start getting this fruity, peppery, and by the way, the whole time this is waxy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
This fruity, just wonderful, like peppery, spicy. Talisker starting to come in. A little bit of those sherry notes are coming in with like just a little bit of like chocolate, a little berry. Then I get another wave of that sweetness, more wave of honey. And then in the finish, I've got subtle smoke with a lot of pepper and spice. And oh my God, it's glorious.
A lot going on here. Instantly, when I first swallowed, chocolate and berries. You said berries on the nose. I really didn't get a ton of berries. I got a ton of it on the palate with a beautiful milk chocolate. As soon as I swallow, then instantly waves of sweetness. Mm-hmm. Honey. Almost like it's like citrus to the honey. Then the pepper kind of, is kind of there lingering in the background, but the finish is definitely predominantly that really sweet honey vanilla note. Wow, that's a powerful palate. If you would have told me this was under 50% after I drank it, I would have called you a liar.
I agree.
That is,
And this drinks with oomph, but also drinks with that viscosity, waxiness, oiliness. I mean, that's why John Glazier likes Clyenlish so much, is because it does have that waxy character. That's good. This is way more waxy than any other. This is more waxy to me than that Tobias and the Angel, which was 50-50 Clyenlish Kalila and 25 to 35 years old.
Yeah, I'd have to put them next to each other, but this is definitely on the high end. I put a little bit of water in mine, if you like to do with yours.
Yeah, so I get a little drop in here.
It's a new dropper, by the way.
Oh yeah, premium one.
Every time brand new. Yeah, so I would say with a few drops of water, the vanilla sweetness is definitely coming up a little bit more. The pepper took a little bit of a step back. Still smells dense and creamy though. You know what I mean? It still smells like a good old Clyenlish.
Creamy, vanilla, but initially we didn't really talk about age. The water brought out that aged note to this.
I dare say I like this Clyenlish see it better than the edition number 2 that we both were big fans of that we got pretty cheap for here in Ohio. Because it didn't have this amount of viscosity on it. Even though it was a higher ABV, even though those were, 15, 20, 30.
Proofier, more alcohol, but not as creamy and waxy. It didn't have it just wasn't.
This is an excellent version of Clyenlish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's become so sweet, so candy, but I am picking up like just hints of leather that are starting to come through, bookcases, just hints.
Old wood, 20-plus-year-old whiskey notes.
Exactly.
And the Talisker mixes with this so well.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels like more than 8 or 9%.
Also remember, it's got the first fill, whereas I think it's like a recharred hogshead or something for the Clyenlish. So
it's there. It's there through the whole experience.
Yeah.
I'm really anxious to go back. Okay, it takes a second. But yeah, no, it's yeah. So I was anxious to go back in to get my second drink of it. That initial swallow when the berries and milk chocolate hit together, man, that was really unique and a pleasant experience.
Okay. So the water's brought out this classic Clyenlish note I get on the finish, which is kind of it's almost like a way it feels. It's kind of like, almost like bubbly, but it's not bubbly. It's like you've got a little bit of oak tannin coming in.
It's almost like you're on it finish, like moving your mouth around.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a carbonation factor to it where it's just bubbling and sizzling.
Yeah, and I get that on a lot of Clyenlish, so I like it here.
Good Clyenlish.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my favorite note in this whiskey, but that's the big change. I mean, up front, it's sweeter. There's more integration in those vanillas and those honeys with that like chocolate and a little bit of berry. They kind of came more together instead of being distinct. It's just one sweetness. Man, good whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I need more of this. I really do.
When you hold it in your mouth, more of that Talisker is there. Mm-hmm. That creamy kind of Talisker mix along with that Clyenlish is nice. But then there's a soft, subtle pepper, a little bit of seaside, but then as soon as you swallow, bang, berries and chocolate again. And then just instantly in the waves of sweetness. And they're different intensity too. It's almost like frequency. You know what I'm saying? It's not like anything is smooth. It's like, here's sweetness, here's chocolate, here's a little bit of candied vanilla for you right here at the end. Oh, no, a little bit of honey.
Yeah, I mean, this actually has me thinking about the, yeah, you know, like when you're holding it in your mouth, it has me starting to think little bits of those old Talisker 25s.
Well, again, the Talisker was more predominant when you were on the palate, when it was in your mouth. Talisker was definitely more predominant. Then you go on, and then it's just flavor.
The Talisker's spiciness, yeah, just kind of.
Just like the sea shot and everything. It was just
There's a.
tasted maritime.
Yeah, there's a meaty, not so much meat, but like density to Talisker that kind of comes in, and it's a different density than the Clyenlish, but they're similar.
You know, how often do you have a blend like you do with this one, and it's predominantly say Clyenlish on the nose and a lot of Clyenlish flavors on the finish, but when you hold just that part of it, the experience, just when you're holding the whiskey in your mouth, Talisker seems like it's 2/3 of the experience at that point. And then it backs off, and then it kind of goes into some shared notes, but mainly Clyenlish. But it's weird how that kind of changed hands. Kind of what
this just takes me back to. This is when John Glazier basically had any cask he wanted. A few years back, he had access to everything, and this is what he could do.
So how long had this bottle?
So good buddy, friend of the channel, Jason Coates.
Oh yeah,
found one of these bottles for a pretty good deal locally in his area, maybe a year ago. So I bought one of these when it very first came out. Absolutely loved it. It's probably the first bottle I ever spent $300 on. And actually, I'm pretty sure it was. I picked this one up.
It's all choice.
Yeah. Little did I know in a few years.
Nothing.
$300 will not get you a whiskey this good anymore.
Don't sweat this decision. Trust me. All right, but anyway, what did you pay for this time?
It was just under 300 that time. Yeah. High twos. Plus, I had to pay for shipping and stuff. So, yeah, great deal.
Yeah, Jason, always appreciate you, buddy. All right, so yeah, man, excellent version.
Yeah.
Of Clyenlish in general, but another really good job by back then, 2015. Is that when you said this was about?
Yeah.
Back then, almost everything that Compass Vodka came out with was just like, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
It was they set a really high bar back then.
They really did. I mean, you had the Circus, you had this, you had the Hedonism, the Muse, which was excellent. I mean,
I really did like the recent No Name 3 though. So
that was excellent. I mean, they still do good stuff. I think the problem is they just don't have the same access to casks.
Probably. Yeah.
By the way, another funny thing about this bottle,
give it to me.
2015, and they're talking about Brexit, which just happened. That many years talking about Brexit. So
a little piece of history.
You want a little piece of history and just kind of a little chuckle of like, we're not sure what's happening with Brexit. And it's like, John, you've got a long ways to go before you find out.
Buddy, lots changed since you wrote those words down.
Exactly.
All right, as far as the whiskey score, buddy, where you at on this one?
Like, I've been back and forth in my head between two numbers since I first tried this bottle. Like, I hadn't had this in over a year. Cracked it open on my birthday, had a couple little tastes. I think I'm going to go 92. It's right there, 91, 92. I was going to say 91.
Yeah, I mean, I was 90, 91. I mean, I think it's a great whiskey.
That mouthfeel is just so good to me. That's what really pushed it.
This is one of my top 5 Compass boxes.
Yeah.
Probably not 1 or 2, but probably 4 or 5.
It might be number 1 for me.
So I'm going to go 90.
Okay.
I think it's a strong. There's nothing wrong with this whiskey. Push come to shove. I could see a 91 on this. Great whiskey. But again, it's old whiskey. It's the stories I like.
Absolutely.
I figured I'd like old Talisker and Clyenlish.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah, no doubt. At 50% ABV. Excellent whiskey.
Exactly.
Anyway, since this has been on a while, hopefully a lot of you guys had a chance to try this particular one. Let us know how close we were on our tasting notes compared to what you guys were able to pick up.
And then there's plenty of them out there. They had made 3,282 bottles. So
plenty.
For our reviews, I mean, that's actually a big production.
Yeah, you're right. When something 3,000, probably got a good chance of this.
Yeah, you probably had a chance to get one.
8 billion people on the planet, 3,000 bottles, no problem.
Exactly.
That's what we do for you guys. Anyway. We hope you enjoyed this whiskey review. And Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
We'll see you next time.